Hi everyone, my name is Natalie Dawson. Welcome to Leader Talk. This show is proudly brought to you by Brainiact. Each week we are meeting with incredible leaders from around the world to discuss all things leadership and business insights. Each person coming on this talk show has given up their valuable time for one very clear purpose: to give back to small and medium business owners. Have you ever wanted to create a YouTube channel for your business but weren't sure where to start? Or perhaps you think it's too hard and not something worth your time. Well, today my guest co-host Mimo Lebrano, CEO of Sandhurst Fine Foods, and I are fortunate to chat to our guest speaker, Dan Goodwin, the creator of Lions TV. Over the course of 6 years, Dan has amassed a YouTube following of more than 17,000 people who regularly watch and enjoy his content. His love for Millwall FC became the foundation for a thriving community. And Dan is here today to share his knowledge and help us all grow our own online community. Welcome to the show, Dan.
Thanks for having me. How are you?
We're wonderful. How are you?
Yeah, good. A little bit cold. It's been snowing this morning over here. I guess it hasn't been over there, no?
No, we are in autumn, but it has been a cold day today. That's for sure. Definitely cold.
How cold is cold over there in autumn?
I think we had about 18 today.
18. Oh, that's sunglasses and shorts weather over here.
What is the temperature there, Dan?
I don't know. When I drove home last night, I went out last night with my girlfriend. It was like 3 degrees on the way home. Yeah.
Okay, I take it back. It's not cold here today. Definitely not. Look, Dan, welcome to the show. And, we begin this show with asking our guests 2 fun questions. And we've prepared yours. We know you love Millwall, but we have to ask you, who's your second favourite team and why?
There is no second favourite team.
That's a trick question.
I'll tell you why.
It is a trick question. Had to ask.
No. And this is, we'll get into it, why Millwall fans are unique, because we are a strong believer in, and maybe to a point why some people don't enjoy my YouTube channel in the Millwall community, because we're strong believers. We don't collaborate with other teams. We don't favour other teams. We're going to war. There is no friends here. But to answer your question, I'm from a town called Welling, which is in Kent, and so that's, I suppose, my second team. They're in like the 8th tier of football. They get like 1,000 fans. So if I had to choose one, if Millwall folded, I'd follow my hometown club.
Oh, what a great answer!
Welling United. Shout out to Welling United.
Excellent. And what about your favourite holiday destination and why?
Oh, it's a great question. It's a great question. I'm going to go. I'm trying to think of holidays that I've been on with like my children and my family, but I'm going to go with Marbella in Spain, because I've been to so many good stag do's and things like that over there. I don't know if it's like a known thing, like Marbella in like Porto Banús is called. Unbelievable beach clubs and things like that. It's so good over there. And it's not obviously for us. It's not too far. It's only a couple of hours on the plane.
South of Spain, right?
Oh, unbelievable, mate, honestly.
Beautiful spot.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Excellent. And look, Dan, before we begin asking all the questions, can you tell us a bit about yourself, your history, and how Lions TV came about as well?
Oh, it's a mad story, because obviously, as you can see, I'm no spring chicken. So I changed career at 35 years old. I left school at 16, went to work for my dad, who had a roofing company. It's not like, well, actually, it's big it's quite big in Australia. It's not like tiles and slates. It's hard metals, copper and zinc. You have a lot of it over there, I believe.
Yeah.
So I did travel with work quite up. I mean, I worked in India. I worked in Tunisia. It's quite a niche thing. So I worked all over the world, but I know Nat's told me not to swear, so I won't. I absolutely hated it. Like, it was great. It was great money, but I just came out of school, went into that job, and did it forever. Until I was about sort of 35 years old. I was married at this point. I had my own little team of men. I sort of had 6 blokes working for me. I don't want to go too deep, but my marriage broke down. And at that point, I just thought, I hit sort of rock bottom, really. I just thought, I don't want to do this anymore. And a good friend of mine who I grew up with, I don't know if you might know him, Jimmy Bullard, professional footballer. He was in I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. That's why I said you might know him, although it's English version. So we grew up together in the same town, and then he became a professional footballer. He went off, he played for Fulham, Wigan, Hull in the Premier League. And then he went into the jungle after he played. And as he came out the jungle, it's sort of the time that my life changed. So we sort of joined back up. And I just said, I was going out with him at weekends and I just like, I hate my job. I just can't do this anymore. And he was like, well, why don't you leave? And I was like, because I'm 35. It's all I've ever done. And he was like, I think he said, look, I've just been in the jungle. I'm getting offered TV things. He said, look, you're getting divorced. Yes. But at this point as well, I'd moved out when I was like 24 originally. I moved out and I got my own place. But obviously my wife kept the house, threw my bags out the window, and I had to, she didn't really. And I had to move home with my parents at like 35. And I'm like, and he said, look, the one thing you can take from this is that you've got no bills now for a while. So come with me for a year. Just drive me about. He said, I think you could do something in this industry. And we'll have a go, to try and take a positive from it. So one day I just literally was on a roof, had a phone call. I didn't, arguing with someone about a payment they owed me or something like that. So I just put the phone down. I just walked up to my workers and I said, boys, I'm leaving. And they always think I'm a little bit mad anyway. And they went, yeah, all right. And I went, no, boys, I'll sort you all out with another company to go and work. But I'm not coming back. And they didn't believe me. I just literally walked off there and then left everything, left my tools, just got on a train and went home. And then I started going with Jimmy, not for any money. Started going with him and driving in places. And he now presents a show called Soccer AM on Sky Sports. He's quite a big celebrity over here. And I was basically just going with him and to these places, just gaining the experience. I wasn't getting paid for it. And then he started getting me driving jobs. So I started driving him to the jobs. And then he said to me, you could do something in this industry. You're like, these people, like, you're quite funny. These people aren't as good as you, some of them. So I started learning a bit. And then I was driving him into another place that was called Ball Street. And this Ball Street is basically, they sort of had a big belief that fan football media would be bigger than obviously Match of the Day and shows like that, like English shows, because those shows, the big mass-produced ones on mainstream TV, they only tell you what they want you to hear. Whereas if the fans can say it, then, it's more edgy and people want to see that. So it's more honest opinion. So I was driving him into this place, Ball Street, and I said, is that the guy? The Arsenal fan TV, you might, I don't know if you've seen that. The Arsenal fan TV is huge. I said, that's that Robbie. And he said, yeah, that's what this place does. They do fan media, blah, blah, blah. And I went, oh, right. And by this point, I'd gone from being his driver to he got his own show on London Live, which is a Sky, it's on Sky, like TV channel. Basically, we went into this meeting and it was like a massive boardroom, like almost like The Apprentice, like Alan Sugar-esque. And I sat down with Jimmy, his agent, and myself. And then the other side of the table was like the producer of the new show he was going to have and the owner of the channel, some big, loaded Russian guy. And they went, look, we're going to get you this show. We want you to do this, blah, blah, blah. And it was called Jimmy Bullard Kicks Off. That's what it's called. So at the end of every show, for 30 seconds, he had to do it 3 times and rant into the camera about a topic that's happened this week. Could be news, could be sport. And they said, yeah, I want you to write these things. And he literally went, oh, yeah, Dan's my writer. He's been branding me for years. And I was like, huh? And we just basically, we just winged it. I just started writing these things for him. They loved them. Then they had a guy that was going out. He's doing outside broadcasts. He was going around all the clubs in London, meeting the fans. What's it mean to you to be an Arsenal fan, a Spurs fan, whatever? And Jimmy said, where's these VTs that are supposed to be going out? And they went, the guy's terrible. We can't put him on. And he went down to do it. And I went, all right. I went, what, on camera? They said, it's not live. But I went, all right, I'll do it. So I went that Saturday, started it. So I started going around all the grounds and they liked it. So then they upped me to 2 shows a week. I was doing a history and then I was doing a history of the club and then a fan thing. One would go out on a Monday, one would go out on a Friday. And then, I ended up presenting the last 2 ever shows as well, like as the main presenter. But when the show ended, obviously I was seeing what was going on at Ball Street with these fan medias. And I said to Jimmy's agent, who's now a good friend of mine, I said, there's not a Millwall channel, He went, have you got a video camera? I said, no. He said, could you borrow one? I went, yeah, probably. He went, borrow one and start this weekend. And that's what I did. I didn't know how to edit. I didn't have any equipment. And that was 6 years ago last month. So sorry, that's the very long version of who I am. And what
So Dan, I've got one for you. Like we were talking to Australian audiences, so describe Millwall. I've done a bit of research. It sounds like a fantastic team because, like all Australians, we love the underdog.
Yeah.
So Millwall's been up and down, and now it's currently second division, I believe. But they've got a great history, and they're the classic Aussie battler team. So describe the team for us because it sounds like a fantastic team.
Yeah, it's a club steeped with history. The closest club to central London. I think we're about 3 miles from the Shard. Very sort of football's moved on and it's become quite commercial, but we're like ingrained with, togetherness and working class, and it's very much a family thing. I support Mill because my dad supported Mill and his dad supports Mill. My oldest son supports Mill. My youngest son is currently playing games. I mean, he's refusing to, but I'll break him down eventually. We've got a history. We're notorious in English football for, our song is "No One Likes Us, We Don't Care." Like, fans don't want to come to our ground. We're intimidating in the right way, of course. Always, never step out the. I was never overstep the boundaries. But yeah, we're in the Championship, which is the second tier of English football. It's the one below the Premier League. We have dabbled in the top division. 1987, 88. I was 8 years old. We got promoted. We was in the top division for 2 years. But there's always something going on with us. It's never vanilla. Like, we're getting promoted, we're getting relegated, we're getting in trouble. We were on an FA Cup run. So it's a good team to support. You got teams in the Premier League like Southampton, Burnley. They're sort of teams that just exist. We've had we have all sorts going on. We got in the Europe. We got to the FA Cup final 2004. We lost to Man United. We've been to the new Wembley 7 times in playoff finals and things like that. So yeah, it's a very notorious club. Like, literally, the song is a song, but everyone hates us. Everyone hates us, and we don't make it easy for ourselves at times. But yeah, that's basically in a nutshell where Mill is in South London, Bermondsey.
Fantastic.
It is. It's brilliant. And, Dan, you would know in our household, everyone's football fans. Jared, he's a huge Millwall supporter. But for those listeners out there, so they can understand the passion of football supporters, can you explain this passion or this feeling that football fans have?
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, you can try and explain it as best you can, but when you're there, I mean, for a lot of people, it's their release. Like, they just turn into lunatics on a Saturday. Like, and these people, I'm quite bubbly in general, but these people may, be quite reserved Monday to Friday. They might not say a lot. But when people just get there, they just explode. I mean, and for me personally, it's the sort of thing that's always been there for me. And it's like, especially with this, what I do is it's dragged me back from the brink. Do you know what I mean? Again, it's to give me something to focus on. But it's always there. There's sort of, I've heard people describe it as the relationship, that never lets you down. They're always there, whether you get angry with them. You can't escape it. It's just there.
Dan, isn't it where you can actually be yourself? It's actually, you can be yourself, because that's what I find. I've got certain groups of friends. I was doing music thing as well. I've got a band, and I find the band's a place where I can act the absolute idiot, and nobody cares. So you can act like an absolute tool, and people go, "Yeah, he's just being a tool again." So don't worry about him, and say all the wrong things as well.
Oh, mate, there's both sides of that. So I used to be a really loud person, really too much. Now I've started doing this channel. It's sort of, I meet people and they go like, you're quite quiet. It's sort of calmed me down. I sort of get everything out in the channel. Yep. So I'm not as annoying anymore as I used to be.
Yeah, because your release has now become your job. That's why.
On the flip side of that, I mean, I won't mention his name in case he's watching, but my friend, he was a school teacher. He's a big lump, and then he's really well spoken, and now he teaches teachers how to teach. A couple of years ago, he went, look what happened to me Saturday. He's getting dragged along by the police, getting thrown out. Like, people just lose their head. They just turn. So some people can be their self, but others, they just turn into like nutcases.
Oh, it's incredible. And Dan, you make so many videos each week about Millwall. What actually motivates you to create so many videos? Like, you're not creating content, once a month or something. There is a lot of content you are regularly producing.
Well, firstly, I mean, I've got to give a shout out to Millwall Football Club, because I did the presenting thing that I said to you I did, and they obviously let me have the VTs once the show finished. And I tried to start my own channel, just Dan Goodwin, YouTube. I didn't really give it a great go, but it didn't really come off. Whereas with Millwall Football Club, they provide me with the content that will never end. So there's always something to talk about, 2 games a week. But yeah, so I mean, it's there, but then I've still got to have the drive to do it. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And I was just saying before we start, I just love it. Like another thing is, I got divorced, and I got obviously. I'm going too deep. She got the house, I left. So with that, some of the money, I bought a laptop, some cameras, spent about £3,000 on equipment, and then I refused to get a job. I said, no, I'm going to focus on this because I know if I go and get another job, I won't be able to give it my all. So for 2 years, I just literally lived off that money, and every day I'd wake up. I didn't have a lot of money, so what can I do? Right, I've got a camera, I've got a laptop. It doesn't cost me anything, monetary wise, to put these videos out. Like I always say, like dedication doesn't cost you a penny. It doesn't cost me anything to dedicate myself to something.
And you made a conscious decision to drop your salary or to work for nothing for 2 years, Dan, right?
Massively, massively.
And
So
that takes a lot of courage, you know.
Yeah, I mean, people thought I was mad. I mean, my mates always thought I was crazy anyway. But when I thought, and I always did have these mad ideas throughout life, and some of them didn't come off. But when I said I've quit my job and I'm going to be like trying to be a presenter, people was like, "Yeah, all right, mate. Good luck with that." And they did laugh. Some people laughed at me for a long time, and then it started to take off. I've been on like Sky Sports, Channel 5, BBC, ITV, like for certain little bits and shows and adverts. And then like my mates were like, all right, fair enough then, But yeah, the content, I just love it. I said like before I'd work Monday to Friday, and I would literally, I remember when I was an apprentice and I would work with my dad like every day, and I would get out the door on a Friday and I'll go, come on. He'd be fuming because he loved his job and he knew I hated it. But I just couldn't wait. And then I'd go out all weekend. I'd turn up Monday, like I was a teenager in early 20s, but I'd turn up with an hangover. I had no interest in being there. And he hated it. Well, he was always at loggerheads over it for years. But with this, I now work 7 days a week, but it doesn't feel like I'm working. I can't wait to get up every morning. Especially, I think it helps it's working. You know what I mean? I can see there's an end goal. It's only building and building. So, but yeah, I mean, I said as well that I think a lot of people don't realise you can actually earn money out of doing something that you love, and I think you'll earn more money doing that as well because you'll put everything into it.
That's right. Yeah, very true. Yeah.
That is so interesting, isn't it? And you mentioned, you work 7 days a week. Like you can technically work 7 days a week, but it doesn't feel like work. Does it ever exhaust you doing this? Or are you so passionate that it just has become part of life?
I'm great, honestly. I wake up in the night, 3 a.m., pick my phone up, check my YouTube views, put it down, checking other people's YouTube views. I listen to podcasts. I mean, I listen to like when I'm driving to work. I've actually got a job now for a content company we might get onto, but I listen to podcasts constantly. Like I'm completely obsessed. I can't actually now. I mean, I supported Millwall my dad first took me in 1985. The channel started in 2016. And I was a big Millwall fan. Okay, but I can't remember my life before like Lions TV now. I don't know what I'll do because I used to do a lot of vlogging, like to camera, jumping around, and I now feel at 42 I've got too old to be doing that. I leave that one to the kids. But I'm thinking, am I going to be doing this when I'm like 70? Because I'm not going to stop. I love it. Do you know what I mean?
So can we ask how many followers and which platforms, like YouTube views? I mean, there's some statistics here which are very impressive, Dan. So where do we start? Is it YouTube views or Instagram followers? And some of us don't even understand what Instagram follower is. Sometimes I wonder.
Yes, obviously your social media. Sorry, mate, go on.
Yeah. So what are the numbers? Can you throw the numbers at us? What have we got?
So yeah, 17,000 subscribers, 17,112 actually. I checked this morning. Subscribers. I should have more subscribers because I've got 9 million YouTube views. But
wow,
again, Millwall fans are quite.
Yeah. Sorry, 9 million YouTube views.
Yeah. Which you get some YouTubers that have got 9 million on one video, but for what our club is, it's very small. It's a very small fan base. Our club. I mean, my friend who I said was Jimmy's agent used to say to me, if you supported Chelsea or Arsenal, your channel will be absolutely huge. But obviously, the Millwall community is quite small, so yeah, we've got 9 million YouTube views, but only 17,000 subscribers because, well, I say only, it's a good achievement, but a lot of Millwall fans are quite old school. Some don't like my channel, YouTube and all that. And if you got to, obviously you got to just press a button, but because they're old school, they're like, "Well, I'm not signing up for that, mate. That could be dodgy. It could, you know what I mean?"
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. I watch a lot of YouTube videos, but I don't subscribe to a lot of them. You're right. Yeah.
People think it's going to like cost them, or someone's going to get their address or something. Do you know what I mean?
It's a step further than just watching it. I agree.
Yeah, the older generation, like they don't get like my parents go to me like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I've been working all day," and like they can't work it out. They don't understand like the new age of YouTube and social media. You can actually.
Some people don't even know how to subscribe, Dan. That's the thing, you know.
No, that's what people come up to me.
I've had
fans at the ground come up to me and go, like, "Do it for me." And I'm like, "You need a Gmail account, don't you? You actually, that's the basis of it. You can't just press subscribe unless you've got a Gmail account, and then they have to sign up for an email." Exactly. But yeah, so I'd like more subscribers. But yes, 17,000 is good.
And,
I remember
Instagram as well.
Yeah, just 9,067 or something. I think.
Yeah, Instagram 9K, Insta. And what about Facebook?
Facebook 7,000, I think.
7K.
Facebook's a good one for me, I find, because that is a lot of the older audience.
Yeah, well, it's an older demographic these days.
Yeah, so I feel like my videos go well on there.
Natalie, you're younger than me. Have I missed any of the? Is there another one that I've missed this week that we should know about? Us old people.
No, exactly. And then you can directly. What it is as well, you can directly share them on Facebook. People haven't got to click on a link either. It's just there, so you just watch the video. And a Twitter account. I think we got about 7,000 on Twitter. 6,000 I think on Twitter.
So it's about 6 on Twitter. So how did you build that? How do you build those subscribers? When do you find there's a big uptake, Dan? What's the catalyst to when you say, "Oh, we got 1,000 out of that," or we got another 1,000,000 views or something? What happens before that?
Well, exactly. Good point. There isn't a massive uptake, and I thought I'm going to do a YouTube channel. One day I'll do a video, it'll go viral, and all of a sudden I'll have 1,000,000. So it just doesn't work like that.
No, that's right.
I remember when I started the channel, and I said I started the channel, and before I'd even put a video out, and then I went into this place, Ball Street, the next day, and I actually had a chat with Robbie from Arsenal Fan TV, give me some advice. And I said, the problem I'm going to have is getting people to subscribe as Millwall fans. And when I looked, I had 37 subscribers. I was like, whoa, in a day, and I've not even put a video up yet. That's unbelievable. And I thought, I'll get to this point. But it's just literally dedication, hard work. That is literally, you got to be consistent. You just got to, a lot of my friends try and start stuff off now. And I said, right, have you posted today? Oh, no, I didn't have time because, no. I want one post from you every day on Instagram. Just one post. It can be a fact. It can be a photo. It can be whatever it is to do with your genre, what you're doing. But I need that post from you at the same time every day. Do it as you get in from work. Do your dinner, do your post. It takes 5 minutes. Oh, yeah, I will. And I go, where's your post? Ain't done for 3 days. Oh, what happened was a tyre burst on my car. And then I had to go to the shop and get some milk. And I was like, it takes 5 minutes. And it is basically, YouTube is, well, I find personally, there is no instant blow up. It is literally consistency.
Yeah, it is.
Dedication.
Definitely. And Dan, has there been any unexpected positive outcomes that have come from Lions TV that you didn't even expect?
Oh, crazy. So the other day, I'm filming something to do with animals in a cattery up in Nottingham, and I'm like, how has this brought me here? So I said at the beginning that my friend who was the footballer Jimmy Bullard, well, his agent Jim is a friend of mine, and I met him through Jim. But he's known me since I started Lions TV. He was actually the one that said, "If you've got a video camera, we'll start this weekend." So he's seen it build through the years, and he says to me, "You actually have got more subscribers than they get in the stadium on a Saturday. That is mad." So he used to be a football agent, and now he owns a PR and talent company. So they got sports stars on the books, ex-sports stars. They got a lot of reality stars. So about a year ago, he said, "We've got a video to shoot. It's for a Monopoly board game. Could you do it?" And I went, "Well, I've not done it before, but I'll have a go," sort of thing, which I did. And they absolutely loved it. And he went, "Mate, that video you've done, I'll pay someone 8 times more to do a different video." And it wasn't as good as that. I was like, should have asked for more money, really. But here you go. And then about 6 months ago, they're expanding all the time. And he said, "Do you want to come in 2 days a week? I did that. And then that quickly, I was 8 days a month, I think. And by February, I'd done 8 days. By the 10th of February, I was like, I'm only supposed to be doing 8 days. And then he said, no, we want you on full time. So I now work full time for them Monday to Friday, but Fridays I work from home. So, and I don't start till 10:30 in case he's watching. It's still got an hour.
And Dan, you've also got a side business, correct? Like it's not just Lions TV, the side business of clothing that we mentioned.
Yeah, that's right. I'm wearing there. No One Likes Us clothing. Obviously the song No One Likes Us, We Don't Care. So it's that's the Millwall original crest. And that's the year that we was formed, 1885. So I get a lot of these, can we sponsor you, and can we we should go into business together. And I just ignore them really. And some guy came to me, Martin, he's a right top man. He come to me, I think it's about 3 years ago now. And he was like, do a clothing range. I own my own clothing company. He's based up in Leicestershire, which is like 3 hours from where I am in London. And I was like, no, you're right, mate. But he kept coming, and he gave me, he's very intelligent with what he was saying. He's got an established company. So we started the No One Likes Us clothing. So I like to say this, I'm the model, obviously. And he's the brains. He's the brains behind it. He does everything, basically. All he does is send me the clothing and I wear it in the videos. As I'm doing today, a little bit of promo. But yeah, and then he sorts everything out, distributes it, but it gets sold worldwide.
So the question is, how do you monetize when you've got all those? How do you get an income stream? Because what you do is you've got to look at income streams because you need to eat and you need to generate some money. You're a business, so you've got to have a customer and you've got to have someone that wants to pay for something that you're obviously offering. So how do you monetize that?
Yeah, honestly, I was. People don't think it, but I was so skint for like 2 years. I just literally ate toast, toast, drunk water, and I was so skint. But I just believed in it so much. And I also thought there's no way in the world I'm going back on a roof. It's just past that point. Do you know what I mean? So you try and get sponsors. And I looked at other YouTube channels and I thought, so I was quite lucky, really, especially Millwall's quite a close-knit community. It's a very close-knit community. I managed to get a sponsor. And I can't remember what the guy paid me. I think this was about 4 or 5 years ago.
It doesn't matter.
It wasn't. It was about £1,000, I think, whatever that relates to in Australia. And that was to sponsor me for like, I don't know, 12 weeks. And I was like, well, that's actually good. Like, I shouldn't, for my subscribers and stuff, I shouldn't really be getting that much. And he was like, no, I just love the channel. It's like watching your videos. So I'm happy to do it. And then obviously you then become monetized on YouTube. So when you get obviously a YouTube video, that goes up, that goes in the pot. But as you put other videos up, people will still watch the back catalogue. So every time you're doing a video, you're just putting it in that pot, things like that. COVID actually helped me because before I would go to a game, for example, Middlesbrough away, you probably never heard of Middlesbrough. It's the furthest away you can get from where we are. It's like 5.5 hours. So I would go to Middlesbrough away, I'd take my son with me, we drive up, you're paying petrol money, stay in a hotel, match tickets, something to eat, etc. And I'd spend sort of £200, £250 doing that. But COVID meant no one could go to games. So what I started doing was live streaming on as you are now, and I'd be watching the game on one screen, and on the other, I'd be commentating to the people. And I built a really good community through that, and people can donate through that. So that sort of COVID helped me, if anything. I know it sounds stupid, but that helped me. We've got the clothing brand. I've got a Patreon page where people get like early releases on the videos, things like that. And we've got, obviously Jared and Nat sponsor us. We're very grateful for that. They've got an advert that runs during our live streams. I've got a main sponsor who gets 50,000 views a week for an amount, which I won't say. He just loves the channel. He just loves the channel. So it's all good. Just basically, little sponsors, YouTube ad revenue helps a little bit, but not fantastically. And that's sort of like little bits of money from everywhere, but it's just about enough. Do you know what I mean?
But it almost feels like, Dan, I know it's a business, but it almost feels like the money is not the driver. It's the passion, isn't it? And that's what we're getting from you. Like, we are on opposite sides of the world, but your passion, you can actually feel it. You can, see it through the screen, and that you can just see how passionate you are. And that's obviously what's keeping the Millwall fans really engaged.
Yeah, I've got a good fan base. A lot of people say to me like, "You're really passionate." I mean, we do a lot of different videos, but one video I do is obviously as the game ends, I'll film myself, or celebrating or commiserating.
I've seen these. Yep.
Yeah, I watch them back. I'm like, oh no, it's never nice to watch yourself back, is it? I just completely like lose my head, It's crazy, but yeah, it is appreciated. I think, the people like say watch it all over the world, but yeah, it's just the passion. Like just talking about it now, like I just love it. Like later on today, our youth team are playing, and I'm going to watch that. I just love to cover all angles of it. There's never enough games in a week or days in a month to fill my void for it.
Yeah. And Dan, you must be well known within obviously the Millwall football fan base. What are their reaction to what you're doing? Just curious to know, are they huge supporters?
Sorry, guys, I just dropped out. I'm back in.
Oh, sorry, Mimo. I was just asking Dan, what is the reaction to the Millwall supporters with what he's doing?
Oh, they will love me. Of course they do.
Yeah.
They will love me.
It's love-hate, isn't it?
It's the unofficial, right? It's the unofficial channel of the club. So is that an issue in itself? Like, obviously, you've got the official, and then he's got over 17,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, they've got slightly more subscribers than me. They've been going about 7 years longer than me, but I've got more views if they're watching. No, but yeah, it's been a bit of an up and down journey with the club. They sometimes, if I say something or that they will get the call and they're like, it's nothing to do with us. I do try and always, put them apart. I mean, I remember once that we had a pre-season friendly in Portugal and they was streaming the game. So they put it up, and they don't do streams on YouTube. So they put it up saying we're streaming the game from blah blah blah. Anyway, because people have seen Millwall stream, I've got about 50 messages. What time are you streaming, mate? What time are you streaming? Then they put the stream on, and the link wasn't their fault because it was from Portugal. It kept dropping. I'm getting all these DMs going, you this and that. What's wrong with it? Get it sorted. And it wasn't on my channel; it was on their channel. So people sometimes do struggle to differentiate. I think the word between me and the club. I think we got there eventually. But yeah, I mean, I do the live streams now. And COVID's over. I do the live streams from the stadium, and they had to okay me for that. So yeah, I understand it's difficult for them. It's been a bit of not volatile. It's been trying to find the right balance with the club. We got there eventually,
Well, they've got their objectives and, they want to control, but they don't want one single person probably having a bit too much influence, particularly when you've got a lot of influence and people like what you hear. I mean, everyone loves to hear the voice of the man in the street, the guy that's got the real perspective. And, you've got the passion. So these guys are probably running.
It's got me in trouble before as well. It's got me in trouble with them. Yeah, nothing I've said intentionally.
No.
But so basically when the channel began for 1 year, so early days, they let me interview my all-time heroes, and obviously an ex-player, in the home dugout. They let me do it. Anyway, that was fine. Really appreciate that. And then a little bit later down the line, we played Tottenham Hotspur, Spurs. If you heard them they're North London, we're South London. And it's a big, we don't play them often because they're always in the top division.
Top league,
It's a big game. Everyone comes out for it. And a friend of mine does a Tottenham podcast. And he invited me around his studio and a couple of beers, we're having a beer. And he said to me, do you think it's a term in England? Do you think it's going to go off? Do you think it's going to be trouble, basically? And I said, oh, of course it's going to. I said, look, that's not me. I'm take my son. Some people go for the football. Some people go for the fight. And some people go for both. So the police have got hold of this, gone to Tottenham Hotspur. Tottenham have rung Millwall and said, your guy is inciting public disorder or whatever.
Wow.
And Millwall said, there's nothing to do with us. It's an independent fan channel. And they went, we've seen him interview someone in the ground out of the dugout. And then that was it from there. No more in the ground for me.
No more dugout, yeah.
Filming, and rightly so. But it wasn't, it was just, I've learned down the years, you've got to be very careful what you say and who you say it to. On that basis, it's a shame, but I've got my very close friends at Millwall, but I sort of distance myself from getting involved in lengthy, in-depth conversations about the club or the tactics or, on that basis. It's happened a couple of times, but you learn your lessons. I didn't know what I was doing when I started.
No.
Eventually, you learn your lessons
And
sometimes the hard way.
And you had good intentions, and you were just calling it for what it was, but clearly that could be construed.
And it did go off.
Yeah, that's
so
it.
you know what I mean? I wasn't wrong.
Yeah, it's true.
But yeah,
anyway,
just sometimes learn to keep your mouth shut.
Yeah. Daniel, I did want to ask you, when a business is successful, usually the people see the end result and, not the years of hard work or, 6 years you've been building this fan base. Obviously, you mentioned you didn't even load a video and there was something like 35 or 37 subscribers you already had on YouTube. Did you ever think you'd be as popular and successful as you are today? When you started, 6 years ago and all of this, did you think you'd be where you are today?
How can I explain that without sounding big-headed? No, I thought I'd be more, if I'm honest. And I'm not saying that I should be more. I don't know. I think that where I'm aiming to get to will be a long way from where I currently am. I just don't know. I just thought, you know what? To put it without sounding big-headed, I've never been good at much, and I thought, you know what? I'm actually quite good at this. Without blowing my own trumpet up, I can just tell that this is what I should have been doing my whole life, sort of thing. It's a shame it took me to 35, but when I was 18, YouTube wasn't a thing anyway, so I can't complain too much. But I just think, do you know what? I am passionate. It could be worse people doing it for our club on YouTube. Do you know what I mean? And I just feel that I thought for once in my life, I've actually found what I'm good at and what I should be doing. So, yeah, I mean, 17,000 subscribers is great, but I won't stop until I've hit 100K. I'll die first, honestly.
So do you have a plan, Dan, for this? Is there a plan? Is there a written plan? Is there a business strategy document, as they call people? I wouldn't have a clue.
No,
social media strategy.
Yeah, no, do you know what? I don't do any of that. A lot of the time I don't even script things, I just go off the cuff. Because I know the club.
That's what I find so impressive.
Inside out. So I could talk for England anyway, but yeah, I find if I set targets, I don't hit them. Because I still think it should be here by now. It should be, like I said, I've got a YouTube graphic that pops up. 25,000 subscribers is the target. I want to hit that by the end of the season. That's never going to happen. I'll be lucky to hit 20. Well, there's only 8 games left. I'll be lucky to hit 18 by the end of the season. But yeah, I don't really do that. And it is a business, of course it is, but it doesn't feel like it's just part of my life. Like I woke up this morning, I'm doing this. Then I'll do we got like a video going out. This afternoon at 4. In between that, I'm going to the ground to watch the under 23s. It's just my life, so I don't feel like I have to check the fixtures. I've got a diary, of course I have, but just every day there's something to do, and I just a lot of the times put the camera on and roll with it.
Can you see yourself like being a bigger celebrity? Someone's going to follow you around, and you can. I'm sure you can scale this thing. It's got to be scalable. It's passion,
Yeah,
it's got to be somewhere it can go.
Yeah, there's people that say. Well, the thing is, there's people that say, you should be a commentator. You should, but yeah, unfortunately, I'm too old. I'm too fat, and I swear too much to go on TV. So,
well, that counts me out.
Huh?
That counts me out as well. Too old, too fat.
Yeah, and I swear to. So I have done little bits on TV, but I'm 42 now. I'm not gonna replace Gary Lineker as Match of the Day host or Jeff Stelling as the thing. So I'm happy where I am. I'm really happy. I've got the Lions TV, and I've got a job that I love as well. Because I never had that. Going into an office environment at 42 years old, it's like this is different. I love it. I love my job. So people following me around. I used to do vlogs called Being Lions TV. And I would just follow myself. Funny, I was thinking about doing one today and just do it, showing my everyday, showing the videos. But there is a call for. I just feel I'm a little bit too old maybe now to be vlogging. I think that's like a young person's game a bit more. Do you know?
Yeah, no, I get it. We always use the sports and business analogy, Dan, because we say that, sports and business are very, very close because it is a team. And, I run a business which has got, 70 odd people. You must have a team around you. They're not paid, obviously, because you're doing everything yourself. You obviously use a lot of principles of teamwork, which are very relevant to small business because they might have a team of 2 or 3. So how do you talk us through how the teamwork applies and what you do? Because obviously for you, team is everything.
Yeah. Oh, I've met through the channel. I mean, there's loads of positives to take from the channel, but the biggest one is I've made friends for life. People I've never met before. People that just came up, I had the mic. I'll jump on the mic, mate. And now we're all close friends. We go to games together. We've got. I mean, I do all the filming, all the editing, all the social media. I do everything. Just me. There's no one else. Do the whole thing start to finish. But what we do have, the guys are like the regulars are heavily involved, and we have like team nights out, and we have a chat, and we've got like a WhatsApp group where they send in their videos every week into thing, and I try and keep them. I know that they don't get paid, so keep them motivated. We've given them little perks here and there and things like that.
Because you've got to ask people to work for nothing, don't you? Really, I mean, because you worked for nothing, so
exactly.
Yeah.
And listen, I'd love to get it to a stage maybe one day where we can be sitting in the studio all day every day and filming, and I could be paying people. But I actually tell the boys what I earn, because I think a lot of people think it's a lot more than it is.
Yeah. So that's one thing about small business. There's not a lot of leverage in working for yourself. If you mow lawns, then there's only so many lawns you can mow. So working for yourself, you have a limited number of income, unless you've got some sort of thing like. I mean, the clothing line would be good to expand. That sounds great, but clearly that's not a massive income stream, but it's still something that keeps you going.
Crazy. Yeah. It sells all over the world. So Martin does all the. I mean, we speak regularly, of course, and ideas and bouncing off each other, but I've never really someone never did something before, and I'd be like, I don't really like that, but I don't want to say. Like, you got to be completely open and honest. There's ways of saying it without like saying, "Oh, that's no good." Like I say, I like that, but that's not for me. And then we get to where we need to be by having a discussion, and whereas before I'd be less. I don't want to say anything. It's not what I want. But yeah, the clothing, we'd love to expand it. We have, we've had offers from other clothing brands to collaborate and things like that. We're bringing out a deluxe range coming up soon. I mean, what we actually did do, because I said to him, we need to take this to the next level now. It gets distributed all over the world. That's great, but it's not as good as it sounds, if I'm honest. At the minute, bits and pieces go everywhere, but we don't. I think we need to try and sell more, and maybe appeal to certain different audiences, younger audiences. So what we did was there's no outside stadiums. You get like the hot dog wagon, or you get like a little meal place. So we actually, just before COVID, we've done there's a place at Millwall which has been used since the old stadium was there. It's really popular, sort of around a little corner, people's tables and chairs. So we actually, we went to them and said, well, do you want to start selling our stuff? And instead of us paying the postage sort of thing, they can have the cut of that. So I'd love to have a shop eventually, but so unfortunately, Millwall, I don't think it's a big enough fan base, should we say?
I mean, you got things like coffee mugs, or beer holders and things like that. I mean, that's something that I just look at what football teams do here, and there's you'll find them in everything. I saw a money box with a football team on it yesterday at Coles supermarket. So there's all sorts of licensing. So
unbelievable, man.
Yeah, but you've also got to be a licensed, and that's the other thing. You'll have problems with the licensing of the club because you're not official merchandise, correct?
Yes. So that's right. So that's why we use this badge. I mean, we wouldn't want the club have got their own brand, their own clothing, so we have to be careful with that. And I mean, again, getting in trouble with the club. We started selling retro face masks, and we used not this line. We used the retro one from back then, and they said, we only sold 100. Like, we made them exclusive, but they said, don't do that again, because that's obviously you got to be right on the branding and the T's and C's, and that's where Martin comes in. He's really, really good at that sort of thing. As I said, I'm just a model.
Dan, I wanted to ask, for all the business owners that are listening today, and they're going to, in the future, I've heard it. People have said social media is hard, vlogging's hard, takes up too much time. I don't have the time for it. Do you have any tips and tricks for those people to make it easier? Should they be doing it? I mean, we are, I run a copywriting business. We are heavily invested in social media. So I believe in social media. But for all of those out there that don't have it yet and are saying it's too much, it's too hard, but Dan sounds great, what advice do you have for them?
It's with anything, really. And it's like with YouTube as well, and with socials. People go, I'm going to do that. 3 weeks later, have you done it yet? No, because it doesn't cost you anything. Just pick up the phone and do it. 9 times out of 10 people sitting there with their phone in their hand anyway. So just get yourself sorted. You're going to do one post every day at a certain time. And for example, someone I know was going to do makeup. They wanted to do makeup and beauty. And I said, well, I haven't had any clients yet. I said, not interested. Then what you do is you try and build clients up. You get a post, you get a product, you get a picture of that product, you talk about what you feel about that product and the benefits of it, and you post it every day, different products every single day. That was that sort of get out. Well, I haven't had any clients yet. I said, no, you could post anything. Well, with me, if there's no games on, I could post up, fortunately, old videos. I can post up a bit of history about the club, or a few facts about an ex-player. I can post up something,
you can talk about Timmy Cahill, can't you?
Yeah, Eric, I knew he'd come up. Timmy Cahill. Yeah, we've had a few good Aussies actually. I was thinking the other day, Aussie knew I was coming on. Lucas Neal was another one.
Okay, very
another
good
player, Australian. Jason Van Blurk, Dave Mitchell. I could go on all day actually, but yeah. Sorry, getting back to the thing. Yeah, I mean, you just got to be consistent. You got to find a time that's good, knowing the times, when to post are good. Friday, evening isn't great for socials, things like that. I always find like Sunday night, people got to go back to work on a Monday, so they're looking on a Sunday night for a little bit of last bit of joy before they go to bed and have to go back to the real world. So I always find Sunday evening is a good time. But
so the timing is important as well, isn't it? You might be consistent in your posting, but you got to know when to post.
When to post. I mean, it's similar with YouTube. When you can put YouTube notifications on now, but you pick up your TV control, you go on, I don't know, you're going to watch a show. Let's take Neighbours for an example. Neighbours in England is on every day, what used to be when I was a kid, at 5 o'clock, right? So how are people supposed to know when you're on YouTube? Well, you start putting it in their mind. You start peppering their brain with it, right? Every Sunday at 8 o'clock, this video goes up. Sunday at 8. There is no TV guide for YouTube. So you have to, you have to instill it in people. That's when my video goes up. So once people start just seeing it, and then, that's good actually. They see it more regularly. They'll start talking about it more regularly. They'll start mentioning it to their friends and things like that. I love Instagram. Absolutely love it. I'm desperate to get to 10,000 followers. Not far off now. But I just love social media. It just seems, my kids as well, they don't watch TV. They're on their iPads and they're on their phones constantly, TikTok and Instagram. So
and that's because when we grew up and we were kids, it was only one TV, and you used to have to watch whatever the TV was. But now with your devices, you're directed towards those areas where your passion lies. So if you're a football fan and then you want to be a Millwall fan, then you're on Millwall fan sites all the time, and so that's what you consume, and it drives your passion. I'm sure it drives your passion, and then that motivates people to do stuff as well, which is great. So that's brilliant. Yeah, love it.
Yeah, and for those business owners that are kind of questioning it, what I find really impressive, Dan, is you do everything yourself. It's not like you have a degree in filming and editing and all this stuff. It's all self-taught, isn't it? Is it difficult to learn all these things?
Again, like earlier on, I said I'm not blowing my own trumpet, but the editing. If you saw a Premiere Pro screen, which is what I edit on, you'd be like, well, I just picked it up really easily, and I'm always learning. I'm learning new things all the time on it. I just love it. Like I'll go to work in the office now, and they'll say to me, "You're not going to lunch." I'm not trying to be the goody. Once I'm in that computer, the time just goes like that. But yeah, look, it is difficult. I was in the right place to learn it, fortunately. So I worked at London Live. First off, when I was getting paid my travel expenses. That was it for like a year, but it was the best thing I ever did. And when I used to go out and do these outside broadcasts, they would send a camera around with me, and he'd obviously film. I'd do the presenting, and then afterwards he'd go back to the office to edit. And I used to go back with him because in my head, it's strange. I put a video out for work yesterday. In my head, I can already see it finished, the video, before it's even been done. Yeah, it's strange. And I would go back to the office with him, and I would go, he put bits in, and I go, no, don't put that bit in, put that bit in, that's better. And he'd go, oh yeah, that does work better. Yeah. And I sort of I bought a laptop, I learned the very basics off him. But when I first started out, I used to pay him 20, and I wasn't earning any money out of it. I used to pay him £25 on a Saturday to turn up and he's a really posh young guy, originally from Switzerland. and I used to pay him to turn up at like 4:45 at the Den. I remember the first time I ever come out, people were like jumping on him and everything to come and film me. And then we'd go back to He's in East London, and I'd sit there and he'd edit all my videos for me. And I don't get in like 11, 12 o'clock at night because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah. So did you early days, did you ask for a lot of advice, Dan? Were you asking a lot of people how to do stuff, or
yeah, do you know what?
Because I mean, as blokes, as men, we don't ask anyone because we're supposed to know everything, which we don't. So did you ask a lot of questions?
I did ask a few questions. The funny thing was, I was driving Jimmy into Sky Sports. I never forget. We stood and watched a guy, and he came and went, "Hello, mate. How are you? Nice to meet you. My name's Adam Smith. His name. He's a good presenter in England." And then we stood behind the camera and had to film a trailer. And I went, "Okay, action." He went, "Whoa!" He went like, I was like, "Whoa, what's he doing?" He went like proper theatrical. And afterwards, I was like, "That was weird." And Jimmy went, "No, you have to project. If you just sit and talk, like if I'm just sitting and I just talk like that, it doesn't come across on camera. You've got to give it some. You've got to present." So that was a very early lesson I learned from him. But when we was doing these outside broadcasts, and I was just being paid to drive it originally. But then they would direct him in, and I'll go. Like, and he's a mate of mine, so I know how he works anyway. I know his ups and his good points, his bad. And I'll go, "No, Jim, look, coming from that way, I reckon that'll work better." And he did it, and it did. I just seem to pick it up naturally. But yeah, advice. I've had some advice. At one point, Lions TV, we were sponsored by Ladbrokes for a season, and we got it on block, so they sponsored all the fan channels. So Arsenal Fan TV, Red Men TV is another huge one, the Liverpool one, and we had to collectively hit an amount of views a week for part of this deal. So we had regular Zoom meetings for that, and I picked up a lot of great advice about. I remember the Liverpool guy. They're really big, and he was like, "Have you done this, Danny?" And I hadn't even monetized my channel, and I used to say things, and he used to go, "Oh, Dan, honestly, like I didn't know anything." So he used to give me some good advice, and I would put previews up for the game on a Friday, and he was like, "No, previews always go out 2 days before the match." So yeah, I was fortunate in that year that we'd have regular Zoom meetings with some people that have done it and got there a lot bigger, a lot quicker. I learned a lot, Sometimes you learn a lot about realising you're even learning a lot as well.
You actually passive learning there, Dan. You're actually watching how it's done.
As you've asked me the question, I've only just sort of realised that I did learn a lot from it. It's really beneficial to me. But at the time, maybe I didn't. I was like, "Oh, another Zoom meeting." Do you know what I mean? That's what I was like at the time.
And probably what you did was you actually picked that up, you visualised, and now when you're doing your filming, you're actually visualising what you think it's going to look like, because you probably in the back of your mind you've seen it, and it's sort of you're trying to channel that, I think, which is really, really, really quite clever. That's great. Very good. Yeah.
Thank you.
And Dan, people might think that, obviously filming cameras are expensive. Do you also film on the phone? Like, business owners should be able to know that they can simply just pick up their phone and, they don't have to use expensive software editing. I mean, I've done things in Canva. I don't know if you're familiar with Canva. There's lots of software out there where they can actually do it quite intuitively themselves. So do you film with a phone as well?
I started out with an iPhone 7, and you know what? I went to the World Cup in 2018, and I filmed a documentary. We were sponsored by Vanarama. We drove to Russia. I drove.
There.
Yeah, I drove with I wouldn't drive to Russia now. I drove with an ex player of mine, an ex player who's a legend, but become a good friend of mine through the channel. So I interviewed him. We stayed in touch. So one of the other guys that on Lions TV, I took him. Obviously, just all you need is your match tickets. I'll pay for everything else, And we went from obviously where I live in Kent to the port down in Dover, across to France. We stopped at Belgium. We interviewed an ex-player that he was a teammate with. We drove to where did we drive to next? Somewhere in Germany. Can't remember where it was off the top of my head. Stayed there. Drove to Poland, the border with Kaliningrad, because that's where our first game was. It's a Russian province, but it's not in Russia. Went to get across the border, and they wouldn't let me take the car across. So we left it in there, got a cab across, watched the game, come back, qualified, drove to Lithuania, flew from Lithuania to Moscow, left the car in Lithuania for a week and a half. But I did all of that on an iPhone 7. And someone said to me, what do you film? And I went, that. And they went, no. Like, a guy who's a good like cameraman went, no way. I said, I did the whole thing on that. Even when I got the cameras, sometimes I still use my phone. So you can get, I haven't got it in the room, so you can get a Gorilla Pod, like a little tripod for like a tenner and use an iPhone and a ring light that's there about £7. You can really, it's not as difficult as you think. Editing wise, a little bit more difficult for me. I've only ever used Premiere Pro, which cost me like £20 a month. I know there is free versions available. I think they can be quite difficult on a phone to edit. I think it can take quite long.
Yeah.
Another great thing is what's progressed since I've been on YouTube is what you're on now. What we're on now, StreamYard.
Mm.
That's the good, because you can go live now.
That's right.
That's why I do live podcast.
So Dan, you can teach an old dog new tricks. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
I know. Yeah. Honestly, if you said to me 10 years ago, you're going to be a YouTuber, I'd go, no chance. Like I wasn't on social media. Really, I had like a personal Facebook page, but I didn't know how to use any of that stuff. Instagram, didn't use it. YouTube, never watched it or never considered that I'd ever do it. I think like progression took me there through chance, really, because if I said I'm going to quit roofing and I'm going to be a YouTuber, that wouldn't have entered my head. But the way that I left, started driving for my mate, got into TV a bit, saw there was, I didn't even know there was fan channels. That sort of progressively took me in that direction,
Yeah, certainly an amazing story.
It really is. And, we've had leaders on here and they've spoken about, where we get opportunities, but it is up to individuals to actually acknowledge that opportunity and run with it. And then it seems like, you were faced with opportunities and you took these opportunities and you ran with them. And this is where you are today.
So I was so scared of going back. I thought I'm not going back on the roof. Not scared of where this could take me. Scared I'd have to go back.
We had this, Dan. It's called There Is No Plan B, right?
There isn't. This is what, and as well, I've been offered jobs in the past as well, and I've turned them down. And like, honestly, I could have really done with the money, but I'm doing this, and that is that. There's nothing, and I don't care what sacrifice I have to make to do this. I'll continue to do it, and luckily I did.
Yep. You have an incredible story, and we're out of time, Mimo. So I'm actually going to hand it over to you to wrap up the show.
Well, this has been fascinating, Dan, because this is not business, but it's actually a really good lesson for people in business, particularly small business people. So we talk about this sport and business analogy, and you're definitely using a lot of business or sports techniques and working as a team. But what you are is you're a voice of fan. So you're actually a real person. You're not in the glitz and glamour of the TV world. So you're actually a real person, and being a real person actually counts for a lot these days. You talk about a release for people, which is what it started was. So you use this as a release, and every business person needs a release. I don't care if it's golf, if it's music, if it's football, then every business person that runs a business needs something else, because, we do this thing every day and we need something to actually take us away from our businesses that is completely different to what we do. In your case, it became your business, which is fantastic. You drive with content. You've got your content is always there. So thanks to the club, you've got content going all the time. You've got consistency, you've got focus, and you're getting income, which came afterwards, but you made the conscious decision to actually drop income and then pick it back up. Obviously, the number of subscribers, we think it's impressive, but you're not happy with that, which is actually a good thing, because in a business, you're never happy with the numbers you're doing. You think, oh, I thought we would have been more by now, in reality. But I think your persistence is actually a really good, and that's what got us where we were, or, in the early days, the only persistence was persistence. Income streams, we talk about sponsors and also income from things like clothing, and you also get people to work for nothing. You actually visualized what you wanted. There's something I took. You can teach an old dog new tricks. So someone even as old-fashioned as myself can probably pick up an iPhone and start doing some video editing. I don't know, but anyway. And I think you've got, in summary, I think you follow your dreams, which is actually a really good thing for people to think about, is follow your dreams. Because if you're stuck in something you don't like doing, or if you've got an employee that doesn't want to show up, then just call it for what it is. Those really honest conversations. And you're a good example of be you, because everyone else has taken. So there's no one like you, and so you're you, and that will actually attract people because people will go, this guy's real, you know, he's the guy that says what everyone thinks, you know, and that gets you into trouble too, by the way. But I think overall, the overall message is a great message of persistence, which I love, and that drives a massive passion for what you're doing. So well done, and good luck with all that, because I reckon Lions TV is gonna get bigger for sure. I love the story. It's great.
Lovely. Yep. Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me on, guys. Really enjoyed it.
No worries.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dan. And thank you everyone for tuning in. For more information on Leader Talk and for some great resources to help your business grow, check out brainiac.com.au. Thanks everyone. Bye.
Cheers.